So welcome to part 2 of my video lessons, setting up your workspace in Adobe Illustrator. So once you get Adobe Illustrator installed, we're going to go ahead and open it. It will take some time, especially if you haven't opened it right away. It takes some time to load, but this is the icon. Every year there's a new update, and that's one thing I forgot to mention about the Creative Cloud Suite. If it's a subscription, it's very awesome. You get all of the updates that are rolled out. And it updates quite frequently, I'd say once or twice a month, so you're always getting top tier, software updates and software tools, and it's very exciting. So without further ado, let's jump right into Adobe Illustrator. So opening up Adobe Illustrator, this is kind of the setup you get. I reset everything so it would be as if I was opening Illustrator for the first time. So we're going to go ahead and hit Create New. So Create New, there is lots of templates and setups for different projects that you would create in Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to have you guys navigate over to Print, and we're going to go ahead and click on Letter. And notice that it has different measurements. In Adobe Illustrator, it usually reverts to points as its standard setting, but I would like you all to go ahead and click down to inches. And this is your standard typical print-sized piece of paper, so 8.5 by 11. And right here is the only setting I would like you to take notice of. So orientation, did you want it portrait or did you want it landscape? We're for now going to leave it as portrait, and there are no other settings that I will require you to edit at this point. So we're going to go ahead and hit create. So the white space that you see, its technical name is called your artboard. So everything around it, so this is your workspace. And again, the white center that you are going to be creating your artwork on is your artboard. And that's very important to notice because we're going to be exploring the artboard tool later in the next lesson. So opening up Adobe Illustrator, you'll see a lot of different windows and some of your tools off to your left. It is a little overwhelming, especially if you don't know what you're doing, but I want you to go and navigate up to Window. I want you to navigate down to Workspace, and I want you to navigate and click Essentials Classic. I'm going to have all of you guys set up your workspace very similar to my own professional workspace when I do work with Adobe Illustrator. The next thing I want you all to do is go over here and grab your toolbar and click anywhere. It's very hard to see this dark section of the toolbar. Grab it and pull it off the docket. And this is kind of crazy. I feel like it's a little too long, so I want you all to go over here and click this double arrow that's pointing to your guys' right. So click it so it kind of makes it small and more easily manageable. We're not going to explore the tools in this video, but we will explore it in the next video. So next thing, and you can just go ahead and hit remind me later. I do encourage you to check out all of the tutorials because there are so many tutorials for Adobe Illustrator alone. Again, I want you to come up to this one and we're going to grab these tabs and pull it off the docket. I don't know if that's its technical name, but it is now. So you'll notice that there's properties and libraries. We're going to go ahead and click this double left arrow to collapse the icon so we kind of have this thing going on. You could grab these and pull them, you could combine them, but that's not super important at this time. You can go ahead and exit out of these. Now our tabs, oops, don't do that. I want you to open color, and I want you, so the color is this little color palette. I want you to open, oops, so you'll have to drag it to keep it open, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and open color. We're going to drag this little 6 square block thing icon, and this is called our swatches. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click and hold and drag it until you see this little blue seam bar. That's just going to attach it, so in case I wanted to move this around, they'll both move at the same time and I don't have to worry about moving the separate windows. The last thing I would like you to open is your layers, so we're going to go ahead and pull that off of this little docket tab. I lied. There's actually one more I would like you to open, and that will be your Artboards tab. So go ahead and click on your Artboards tab down here. We're going to pull this off the docket. And what I want you to do, instead of attaching it on the bottom, we're actually going to attach it with inside. So see how I'm hovering over here, and you see instead of the line, you see the square, meaning that it's going to form them into a single window. So we have our layers and we have our artboard. And you could adjust this to make them longer. I usually make them longer. I especially make the color longer. This really helps you select colors, and the swatches is kind of like a pre-made art palette, especially when you want to color shapes in a very quick and efficient manner. Color is just kind of a more advanced feature of swatches where you can go in and get like really fine details of a certain color if you're looking for it. Layers, we'll explore that here in just a moment. Artboards is very important, especially for this lesson, and I'm going to explain artboards first before I explain layers. So to kind of zoom out, there are a couple keyboard shortcuts to follow, but I'm not going to grill you guys on these if you don't know them. But for a PC, it's going to be the Control- key, so that will zoom you in, and the Control+ key will zoom you, or I said that backwards. So Control- will zoom you out, and Control+ will zoom you in. If you are on a Mac, that would be Command- to zoom out, and then Command+ to zoom in. So I'm going to zoom out very quickly so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So again, artboards is the white space that you're working. So if you want to create a second artboard, which we are going to do to create our page spread for our books that we are going to be making, simply go over here and hit this little plus box over to your bottom right that says New Artboard. So right now we have 2 pages back to back, and kind of envision this as if you were looking at an actual book and you have your left page and you have your right page. So this is how we're going to set up our document when we start creating our books, and I will be doing a more detailed version of this in the live stream. So here's our page setup. Going back to layers, the reason why layers is very important is because if you want to make, for example, your text on the top of a graphic, or if you have like comic panels to a comic book page and you want your lines on front of the artwork so the artwork isn't overlapping your lines for your panels, this is a really good way to differentiate which piece or which art and object goes in front of the other. So I'm going to show you a very quick example. Again, we'll be going more over the tools, so don't feel too lost right now. I will go over the tools in video number 3, but I'm just going to quickly draw a couple of squares so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to make these green. And if you want to create a new layer, same thing as artboards, go down here with the little plus box and hit create new layer. So let's say I want to draw circles instead, and I'm going to make them orange. And if you want perfectly proportioned squares and perfectly proportioned circles so you don't get this weird skewing, all you have to do is hold the shift key. So very quickly, I'm going to draw some circles. So as you can see, because we are in layer 2 over here, that automatically puts our shapes in this particular layer on top of what's below. And this is what happens. You can click and drag. So I'm going to click and drag my layers, and it kind of does the opposite where it puts the squares in front. And you can get very nitpicky as you would like. Let me show you an additional example. This time I'm going to draw a star. I will use pink just so you guys could, and again, hold shift if you want a perfect star. Just to show you kind of this setup of layers and why it's very important to know this. And you can rearrange them at any time. So let's just say our squares are very important information and we don't want them to move at all, and we just want to edit the background. All you have to do is go over here, and in this little blank square, you click it, and see how these bring the paddle lock. And easily click on it to take it away. But what happens when you put a padlock on one layer and not the other is that if I go to, let me click and drag and select everything, it won't bother the things that are locked in that layer. So again, if you have text or very important panel lines that you don't want them to, you know, accidentally be moved or altered, all you got to do is click the padlock, and that will easily keep them basically safe from any mistakes or any editing, future editing. And if you want to continue editing, just go over here and click this. And now when I click and drag, it will allow me to move it all. So very quick lesson on layers. We are going to be using this feature in video number 3. So that's enough talking out of me for now. I will see you all in video number 3. But before I go, very important thing. If you accidentally close anything in here, so if you accidentally close your toolbar, you close your colors, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do now. Everything that you accidentally close can be found in your Windows tab. So go ahead and click Window, Toolbar, go ahead and go up to Advanced, and it will reopen that. So our color, and once you open the color, if they were already pre-attached, everything will be open together. So you can move these around. You've seen me kind of move these around if especially when I'm zooming in. This is one reason why I don't like these on the docket. I like them to be very close. So zooming in, let's say I don't like this color, and instead of going all the way over here, if my tabs were on the docket, I wouldn't have to move my mouse as far. And so when you use swatches, this is why I have you guys have swatches open. It's very fast and very easy to recolor something. Same with your color tab. So if you want, you use your eyedropper tool. And so this is how you would really test your colors if you wanted something that's not in your swatches library. So, all right, I said I would be done talking for video number 2, and that's not what happened, but I will see you guys all in video number 3. Thank you.